Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Buffalo Roundup, your home for all things Buffalo in podcast form. I'm Drew Shaltry, excited to be joined again by Marty Zero and Cody Hills. Guys, I know I'm excited to be back here in school, have things getting going again. I don't think anyone's more excited than Cody Hills to have school back in session right now.
Yeah, because I can keep track of the snacks at home with my kids at school now again. That's good. But obviously, it's a really exciting time. As you guys know, it's busy. There's lots of practices. Starting to get some of our preseason contests this week. And, of course, our regular season contest. We're going to talk about all that and more. But, yeah, it's good to be back.
Always good to be here. And, hey, we already had one athletic event this year, starting off early, and a lot more events to come this fall.
Yeah, Cody mentioned the preseason. We had our first volleyball preseason match of the year. First live stream, first time getting folks in the gym for live sports in the 25-26 school year. So excited to have you all back with us and to get talking about things. We've got football on the docket, volleyball, swimming, everything that goes on here in the fall. But first, an announcement from Cody Hills.
That's right, Drew. And a reminder for everyone at home, as you wait for each new edition of this Buffalo Roundup podcast, you can find all you need to know about the Village's high school sports at any time on our athletics website. We've got a digital home just for you, complete with scores, schedules, rosters, and other information, such as ticketing and live stream broadcast of Buffalo athletic programs right at your fingertips. Be sure to check us out online today at athletics.tvcs.org.
All right, obviously it's the fall. We have to start things off with football. The Buffalo working hard at it. They've got a preseason game, kickoff classic game this Friday at Harmony. Cody, what has changed since we last saw the Buffalo in May? We didn't even get to see a green and gold game, but in the spring classic back a few months ago.
Well, quite honestly, a lot has changed, right? As the cyclical nature of high school football, as we know it, you're going to have a lot of graduating guys. I think Buffalo graduated 19, 20, maybe even 21 seniors, if my math's correct, from a year ago. And so you're naturally going to have some gaps and holes to fill. But there's also a lot of new faces and new places, not only the guys who are here, but the Buffalo have been blessed with an influx of transfers this year, upwards almost in the double-digit numbers of new guys coming in. So that's really exciting for this program. But there's also been a lot of development, right? I think this offseason has been one of the most strenuous for this program in recent history that I can recall, at least in the 10-plus years that I've covered this program. As we know, it's been a very hot summer in these parts, but the conditioning has been very stressful and strenuous. There's been a commitment to the weight room, I think, for this football program this year. But also the time that these guys spend on their own, I think, has been improved a lot this year. Everything from the quarterback and receivers and those guys getting together more to the linemen doing stuff more together. And you guys just getting on their own, albeit at a local park or something. There's more, I think, invested this year for whatever reason. And the hope is that you see those dividends pay off as early as this Friday night down at Harmony.
Yeah, they've been battling the weather all fall. If it was fall camp, it was because it was storming every afternoon. Since the official start to the regular season, it was literally just every single day was too hot for them to practice more than 15 to 30 minutes at a time outside. So, that's every team in Florida deals with that. It seems like, much to the chagrin of Coach Richard Pettis, he deals with it a bit more. But, hey, we're all here. We're excited to see them, and now they get to go play a game on Friday.
One of the more exciting developments, clarity at the QB position coming into this year. Jay Kennedy, who we saw flash a lot last year as a starting QB in situations, he's going to be the starter going into this season. When you think back to kind of the golden age of VHS football, which is not all that long ago, but the peak of the program was when you had Mac Harris, who was a dual threat guy running that quarterback position. Jay Kennedy, maybe not the same type of runner as a Mac Harris, but does kind of add that element. How excited are you guys to kind of see VHS football return to that sort of style of offense?
Yeah, he just provides so many options for them. They don't even have to call quarterback run plays for plays to turn into quarterback run plays. And I think his mobility gives him more options, too, when it's in the passing game. He gets to get to his side. We saw flashes of it last year when he would play. We saw flashes of it in the spring game. It's just he has that innate ability to feel the pressure, especially on his blind side, and escape away from it. And honestly, I think the thing that's going to stand out is looking at how much he's matured since last year. There's been a lot of mental maturity that he went through over the past 9 months, and I think that's what really has gotten Jay Kennedy to that next level of being the quarterback for the Buffalo.
Yeah, I think so. I think one of the things I've noticed with Jay is I think his confidence and whether that's sort of naturally coming because he is the guy now. There is no more quarterback competition, controversy, whatever you want to call it. He's a very clear, established QB1 now. In fact, switched his jersey number to number 1 even, so kind of making it stand out there a little bit. But yeah, I think just yes, he's going to be pushed in practice, right? Of course, we know Coach Pettis is not going to allow anyone to rest on their laurels no matter what position they're at. But I just think there's this confidence with him now that he knows, okay, this is his show, this is his offense, and he's got a lot more weapons around him to utilize now too, so that's a boost in confidence. But to Marty's point, I agree. I mean, what he can provide offensively, not only the dual threat side, but now you're able to add a little bit of RPO, the run pass option with him that maybe wasn't there before. It just gives defensive coordinators another little wrinkle that they have to look out for, and it makes that Buffalo offense that much more dangerous.
Yeah, and he's going to have some playmakers around him on the offense this year. There should be some playmakers on the defensive side as well, Cody. A late change in the offseason, but what can we expect from the Buffalo defense this year?
Yeah, as an added bonus, some of those influx of transfers, which we'll see and unveil those guys a little bit more here in episodes to come. But I think just it's going to open the options up for defensive coordinator Myrick Geis, a longtime coordinator. Look, someone who knows defense, right? The all-time leading tackler in this program's history, knows the style of complementary defense that needs to play to the other side of this offense. But he's going to have a little bit more free reign, I think, this year. He's got the athletes now. If he wants to mix up a little bit more man, he can. You want to go run and chase teams, you can. You look at some of the opponents that the Buffalo have faced traditionally. A lot of times you have to kind of sit back in a certain defense or a different posture, if you will, defensively, just to make sure you keep leverage. You definitely want to keep that discipline, right? You want to keep your leverage. You want to keep all your good discipline and habits that this defense is and has at its core. But I think this year they're going to be able to gamble a little bit more. I think we're going to be a little bit more aggressive. I haven't, don't want to quote me yet, but I think I would not be surprised if we see more aggressive in terms of the percentage of blitzes that we see out of this defense. I think maybe we'll see some different fronts as well. I mean, there's just going to be more buttons to push. Again, it's the byproduct of having more athletes in now. And, Myrick Geis probably just as tickled as Coach Pettis is on the offensive side, having more buttons to push as a coach.
Yeah, it seems like the Buffalo defense for the past 4 years, really their pass defense has relied on their front line, their front seven, putting pressure on the quarterback so they can't make decisions. Now it's almost the reverse. The pass defense is going to be on the outside with your athletes. And, hey, that's going to free up your front line a little bit. Maybe you can throw some extra wrinkles in there, things teams haven't seen, things that definitely won't be on video, which is the key right now early season, is that there's no video out there to reference. So you basically get 1/3 of a game, as the format will be for the kickoff classic for varsity. Maybe you get a few surprises in there, but you're probably going to see about the most base stock defense out of the Buffalo all year this Friday.
And you are going to see them this Friday if you make the trip down to Harmony. That was a low-scoring game last year, Cody, but what are you most looking for? We know the score doesn't especially matter. What are you most looking to see from the Buffalo in that game on Friday night?
Well, I think, we've talked about a lot of the new stuff, but, one thing I think I was thinking about ahead of time here is just as much as stuff has changed, at least personnel-wise around this program, it's also how much has stayed the same. That's the continuity, not only in the coaching staff, but just the culture of this team, right? The way that they're going to approach this game, it's going to be very business-like. There's going to be goals to achieve. There's going to be boxes and to check and mark off here because this is a very important step, this first game, right? Obviously, staying healthy is goal number one, as it is for any kickoff classic. But for this coaching staff, we talk about all these new pieces. They're coaching their tails off trying to get these guys ingrained into the system here, get them to buy into the system and the beliefs that are in place here. So to get this first real dress rehearsal opportunity, guys are going to put on their pads and for a nice change, go hit somebody else because they're probably sick of hitting each other here after the couple weeks here at fall camp. Just getting them into that game situation, it's huge. It's critical. You're going to get to see guys thrown into the fire a little bit, see how they react, see how you overcome some adversity as well. Lo and behold, there will be adversity at some point. Now, you rather hope you get up a couple scores early or whatever it might be, and it's not as a huge factor in a meaningless result in a preseason game. But just interested to see a lot of these guys, these new faces and new places we talked about, put that V on their helmet and on their uniform, and then also just see how they react in game situations and see what buttons they can push for this coaching staff.
Yeah, I think if you're a Buffalo coach right now, obviously you want to win, but in some ways you hope you don't win so well that there's always stuff to work on, but there isn't anything glaring at you to work on after your week 0 preseason game. So I think that's part of what they're hoping to come out of this. We see it every year, the Fall Classic. the most that it tells you about a team on the Buffalo is really just what's their initial depth chart, what's their initial plan going into the season. But I think it was 2 years ago, Coach Richard Pettis gave you the play call sheet for the offense right before, and there was 4 plays listed on
Not
there.
a lot on it.
Not a lot on it. So don't expect to see any crazy trick plays or anything like that. It's just going to be a standard game. And, the good thing about it is even if you can't make the trip down to Harmony, we just found out that it will be streamed on the FHS network.
Yeah, and we will have a lot of the games streaming from here on TVCS Live this fall. And if you want to come out and catch a game in person, you can buy an annual pass now on gofan.co. You can purchase annual and season passes or individual game tickets and events right there on your phone, tablet, laptop, or computer in minutes. Go find us on GoFan today by visiting gofan.co and typing The Villages into the school search bar. All right, another big fall sport for us here, volleyball. We got our first look at the Buffalo on the court Tuesday night, had a doubleheader, little preseason action against Westport and against Foundation Academy out of Winter Garden. I thought overall the Buffalo looked pretty good, but I'm curious to get you guys' impressions of what we saw from them just last night.
For me, it was all about just seeing some of the players returning to the court. Sharon Weechins last year ended the season with an injury, and also the entire off-season, Vivi Toussaint Martinez suffered with a leg injury and wasn't really able to participate on the club side. So seeing both of them in a uniform back out on the court in action was probably the biggest success of the entire evening. Now, I think the benefit going forward is, they're going to continue to get their feet under them. They're going to continue to build on that momentum. I thought the first, match against Westport took 4 points for them to remember how to play volleyball. Not that they've ever forgotten, but it felt like it. And then after that, they just blew them away in 2 straight sets. Second matchup against a better team in Foundation with a Division I player on the other side. It's that early season thing. They probably have the talent and the pieces there and the plan there to beat that type of team in the future. But I think it's just not there yet after only 2 weeks of practice.
Yeah, and Coach Mormon said exactly that, Marty, after the preseason matchups there Tuesday night. It was very simply that. It was just, look, it's good to get that competition that we got on Foundation Academy. Yeah, the first one, Westport, get your early season victory, is best of 3 sets in these 2 preseason matchups. Got that victory out of the way, and now let's go face someone a little bit tougher, raising the quality of opponent. A lot of times you don't get to see that, right? Usually, at least most squads will try to maybe schedule a little bit easier scheduling on the preseason if you can, or just get it going. But that's not the way Coach Mormon wants to operate. We heard that much from her coming out of that one last night. Wanted the tougher competition, and certainly got that. Similar to the conversation we just had about football and how many pieces they are welcoming in. This volleyball team lost 5 seniors, all of which played significant minutes a year ago, and then had another player with significant minutes transfer out. So, you're talking about 6 players who chewed up a lot of court time. So much for, as we talked about football being a dress rehearsal this Friday night, this past Tuesday night was it for the volleyball team, getting to see some of those girls in some new spots. So I think overall I would give it maybe a B plus, if you will. I think there's a lot to build on. You talk about coaches here at this school who love the fine details. Coach Mormon is one of them. If you ever come to a volleyball game, just keep your eye on her on the bench there just for a little bit, because there isn't a whole lot that she lets slip by, whether it's good or bad. There's a ton of points that she makes throughout a single point. And so she has a lot of film to work off from Tuesday night. I think for the most part, though, I feel like they're in a really good position as they get ready to kick off their season next Monday.
Should be interesting to see. And like Cody said, Monday night against Gainesville will be the season opener, following that up with a game the following night against the First Academy out of Orlando. So back-to-back 2 good games to start off the volleyball season here at home.
Well, and yeah, the First Academy Orlando, Michelle Mormon, 2008, 2009, 2010 state champion, head coach of that Royals squad back then. So, that's always a fun one, and certainly some familiarity on both sides, both the Buffalo coaching staff, the TFA coaching staff. A really good matchup right away. Match number 2 of the season right there.
Yeah, and hey, if you want to find out the scores or know about the games, every single game day we have a post on our social media. Be sure to follow along with all the action of all of our teams through our VHS Buffalo social media channels. Be sure to check out our Facebook page listed as VHS Buffalo Athletics, or our X account, formerly known as Twitter, can be found at Villages Buffalo, and also on Instagram at Villages Buffalo as well. A bunch of our teams also have accounts. Follow those. all of the game day announcements, all of the scores, and other fun tidbits will be on there throughout the season.
All right, of course, those aren't the only fall sports. We have bowling, we have cross country, we have golf, and we have swimming also getting ready to start their campaigns this year. Where do we want to start, and who wants to kick us off?
Dealer's choice, Drew.
Dealer's choice. All right, Cody, give me something about the golf teams.
Well, the golf teams, I think the boys, will start with them first. Wade Martin back as head coach once again, and have an elite number one player in Braxton Williams. And Marty, I feel like it seemed like almost every other week, every couple of weeks, we were hearing about Braxton Williams receiving a scholarship offer somewhere. It's been a little while since we've had a golfer on this campus pick up some scholarship offers. So right there, the Buffalo, you're feeling good about your number one starter. But got the roster the other day from Coach Wade Martin. And guys, that boys golf roster's 16, 18, almost 20 deep. I mean, there's going to be competition between them. It's a really healthy program, a lot of exciting there. And that's a program that, has won a district championship. I think they're going on 3 in a row now at this point. So, I mean, just playing some really good golf. Of course, an exquisite course over here at Shallow Creek right across the street here. And the girls' side as well, Jimmy Marston, that program picked up their first regional trophy for the first time in a dozen years last year, finished runner-up, first time since 2012, looking to build on that momentum as well. So, both of those teams have been practicing at the Sarasota Practice Center here in the Villages, haven't quite been able to get on the course. Again, we talked about football dealing with the weather. Golf, certainly not immune to that either. A lot of cancellations early in the season. So, it's going to be interesting to see how both teams get their season started. It's a good point with that boys golf team. Guys, last year they were able to set the 9-hole single match record a total of 5 times. They reset the original record. So it took a little bit. It took to the third or fourth match, but I'd look to see more of that the same this year. Get a couple matches under their belt and really see those teams take off, particularly watching Braxton Williams.
Well, golf teams, they're always trying to avoid the water on the course, but we're going to dive right into swimming and diving.
Oh, what a professional segue.
You get every once in a while. Our swim and dive team under Coach Jackie Mitchell, the longest tenured coach here at VHS, along with Coach Richard Pettis. She is here with a swim and diving team that is ready to make a statement. Last year, they went undefeated heading into the districts, and this year they plan on keep it going, keep it flowing. As she says, just keep swimming. And they've been hard at work since the season opened up. The pool has probably been about the only place outdoors you want to be right now. And you just see them out there. There is a method to her madness. They are constantly doing the workouts. She has it all planned every single day. Not surprising from our head coaches here at VHS. But it just seems like no matter if it's the same workout they've done 10 times, every time they do it, they get a little bit more out of it. And then another exciting part, once again, the dive program continues. They actually have some dive-specific athletes, which is an interesting twist. Last year, all the divers also crossed and did at least one swim event. It'll just be interesting to see how the year continues to go for them. Their first meet isn't this upcoming week, but the week following. Basically, if you have nothing to do on a Thursday evening, come out to the pool here at VHS and you can see them swimming from now through October.
Yeah, it's always a good time, and those races do tend to get really competitive, especially the ones towards the end, and very fun to watch the dive team as well. I'll go ahead and handle bowling. Girls bowling is basically kind of resetting after last year. State runner-up finish, tying the best team result in the school's history. Graduating 4 seniors from that group of 5 that was part of that contention. So kind of doing a reset there, but Coach Joe Hornstein's told me that the numbers are good. And in this district, honestly, if you have 5 girls bowlers, you're kind of in it in just about every match in the district. And then if you've got 5 girls bowlers who can keep the ball on the lane, you've got a chance to be competitive. So he thinks that he's got 5 with some promise. Maybe even more. And so it's really just about what they can pick up between now and mid-October when that district meet happens, because all you have to do is be in the top 4 and then get hot for 2 Baker rounds, and then you're making it onto the state tournament. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do. The boys team, meanwhile, they've been really young for a few years now. The guys who were middle schoolers coming up a couple years ago, Caden Chu was a senior with a bunch of younger guys with them. Well, now those younger guys are kind of aging in and are kind of ready to step up a little bit, Joe thinks, and it's about time for them as they're hitting freshman, sophomore, junior year to really start making a statement. So if they can go out and be competitive, I think we've seen them coming for a little while, and now it's just time to see if they can kind of realize the potential that we always thought they had.
Yeah, you mentioned that girls team, that state runner-up finish. The boys were 6-9 in head-to-head competition last year, which on the surface, okay, not great. But if you actually break the numbers down, I think it was 4 of those 9 losses were within 40 pins, I think it was, or 50 pins. Go back and look at it. So, I mean, there were several matches where maybe a more experienced team pulls those out. So,
yeah, I mean, we talk about 40, 50 pins. That's 2 spares from 2 bowlers. And I mean, that's the entire difference. So, yeah, really easy to see a path for them to kind of make a big leap because, like you said, the results were very narrow on some of those losses. You take that, if you take a 6-9 record to a 10-5 record, then all of a sudden you're looking at a team that's probably a favorite to be in that top 4 of the district tournament. Last sport on the docket for the fall, cross country.
yeah, I mean, cross country, they're out running, and I hesitated because I do not envy them whatsoever this time of year out running. Those guys are crazy. Those gals are crazy. Coach Probola is a madman. But no, I mean, they work. I think it's fair to say hard. I don't think there's anyone who works harder in terms of athletes than those cross country runners, especially this time of year. The boys team, district champions, of course, reigning again, a 3-headed monster at the top of that varsity lineup there. You're looking at David Probola, Nate Burton, and then Alistair Clark. Those 3 are going to probably pace just about every Saturday meet for this bunch, and they're a really fun group to watch. Those guys have come up all together through the ranks, through the years, chasing down school records now. The 3 of them are trying to a fun little friendly competition there at the top between Nate and David. So that's going to be fun to see how that materializes throughout the years. And then the girls squad, don't really think they had the year they wanted a year ago. Had some injuries, especially from some of their top runner there on that team. But there are 3 runners who have had state meet experience. And so, you know, you think about running, you think about experience. So how is that a factor? It's a lot more of a factor than I ever gave it credit to. You know, you have to know when to really kind of kick yourself, how to set the pace, how to maybe let the front of that pack go, or where to keep them in terms of letting them not get too far out in front. All that comes with experience. This girl squad has a little bit more experience this year, and of course that coaching staff's really strong, Coach Probola and Coach Klein. So it should be hopefully a good fall for those guys. And on the schedule, they're set to go in Wildwood as well next week.
Yeah, and you talked about the experience. It's not just about race management, course management. It's about season-long management. It's about knowing when to ramp up. It's about not peaking too early. And so I think that, you know, the more years of experience you have behind you as a runner, the better sense you get of where you're at and where you need to be by certain points in the season. Obviously, Coach Probola, Coach Klein, very good at getting their teams into the best spots throughout the course of the year.
Yeah, and they spent the entire first week of the season running indoors in the auxiliary gym. It really let them get a lot of miles on those runners' legs without them having to suffer from the heat exhaustion that they do throughout the rest of the season. Kind of gives them a little bit of a jump start where the distance isn't going to be the limiting factor in practice. It's just going to be the heat, which is what every sport is dealing with at this time of year in Florida. But it's really cool. It's the second year that Coach Probola has done that, had a cross-country camp on campus, and it's been really, I think, beneficial to them getting off to a strong start.
All right, well, that covers everything that's coming up this fall. We're excited to have sports back on campus here at the Villages High School. Remember, football on the road at Harmony this weekend, and then next weekend, everything starts happening. We'll have volleyball at home Monday and Tuesday. Golf, first home match will be Tuesday. Bowling, first home match will be Wednesday, and then home for football next Friday, the 22nd, against Wildwood. Good rivalry matchup to start off the season. We will have another edition of the Buffalo Roundup for you next week. But until then, thank you to Cody Hills. Thank you to Marty Zero. I'm Drew Shaltry. What do we tell them, boys?
Go Buffalo.